Peace, y'all. Peace. I'm a little bit early, so I'm gonna give you guys a few minutes. I'm gonna see if I'm able to tag in this group. I'm not really sure. I'm not an administrator, so I'm not really sure. But I'm just gonna give everybody a few minutes to log on and chat with me tonight. In the meantime, let me introduce myself. I am Osuntola, the Enchantress, the creatress behind the Etheric Touch. My website is www.enchantedlifellc.com. Let's see, what can I tell you? I am an Etheric Touch I'm the creatress, so of course I practice it. I'm actually teaching classes at this time, so if it's something you want to learn, is the foundation of the etheric touch is in energy work, but it's about the customization and individualization of the practitioner. So instead of it being Reiki, it's so much more profound. We have an ancestral component. We have an ancestral component, as well as self-care, shared healing, and then after you take those 3 levels, then there's continuing education, so that you can continue growing and harnessing your craft. As you can see by the title of this video, I am also in the process of developing the Etheric Touch Erotica, and that has to do with the information that I've learned in Tantric and in Sacred Sex. What you need? Sacred Sex. In Sacred Sex, we also will be having sessions specifically formulated for women. So I'm really looking forward to being able to push that. I'm really looking forward to being able to offer that as a service as well. So I'm sure it's 7 o'clock by now, 7:01. And I really hope you guys come and chat with me. But if not, then I'll just drop some information that I have. So this is really interesting how this began specifically for the Yoniverse group, the Yoniverse group. I don't know if I said that correctly the first time, but initially when Khadijah is one of my students in the Etheric Touch. Shout out to Khadijah. Thank you so much for letting me come on and share this information with everybody. Khadijah is one of my students in the Etheric Touch, and she was giving me a little bit of information about her own personal journey with her yoni health and things of that nature. And I believe that one day I just happened upon a post that she did in this group that was in reference to Freaky Fridays, which I got going on, any tantric specialists, etc. I have been studying tantric for close to 10 years now. I've been studying tantric for close to 10 years now. Sacred sex, the divine sacred union. I am currently experiencing life with my twin flame that has been confirmed a lot of times over the last 10 years by different readers and astrologers and such. And so a lot of our relationship was based upon developing ourselves and developing the relationship so that it would grow. And so when I actually saw the post here in Yoniverse, and she asked, I just dropped some tips, just things that I had off the top of my head, honestly, and it seemed like you guys were intrigued. And so here we are. I'm in this live. So let me begin with talking a little bit about what sex is and what sex is not. So generally speaking, when we think about sex, we think about sex in a very recreational way. Even if we are thinking about sex in respect to our partners, even if we're speaking about sex in respect of making love with our partners, we're still looking at it in a very recreational way. We're thinking about bonding more in emotions, which can be a little bit higher up the chakras depending on your level of balance. But generally speaking, it's just really carnal and its wholeness in society in general. And so what many of us do not know is that one, if you read that post that I did that day, or the comments on that post. I said sexual energy is the most powerful energy we have on the planet. Well, sexual energy, in essence, is the only energy we have on the on the planet, because that's what brings forth life, right? So, as a woman, we are impregnated, right? Well, one of the things that you should know is that, according to indigenous traditions, according to indigenous traditions, you were implanted into your grandmother's womb before your mother was even born. So your ancestral lineage, the mitochondrial DNA, carries the seeds of you in the grandmother's womb, in your grandmother's womb. And then when your mother is born, she carries her grandchildren in her womb, and et cetera, yada, yada. And so, and I'm not going to get a lot into it, but one of the things that indigenous cultures also believed was that as a spirit, you choose your parents, you choose what lineage you want to come through, and then you are implanted into the wombs of your parents, and then you are birthed. Now, I'm not sure how familiar this group is with Kundalini energy, but Kundalini energy is cosmic energy, right? It's life force energy, and it sits at the base of our spines. Well, and it's at its base, it is at a restful place. So if nothing else happens, we all have Kundalini energy, and it's just kind of like sitting there, like la 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 la. And so, that is sexual energy in its lowest form. Well, what happens is that it's either that we are aware of our Kundalini energy, and we are aware of our cultivation of Kundalini energy, or we're not. And so it can play out two different ways, just like each chakra can play out two different ways, right? Because everything is about balance. So when we're talking about the lower ones, the root, the sacral, and the solar plexus, we're talking about stability, we're talking about nurturing, we're talking about confidence, and the higher levels, we're talking about love, we're talking about being able to speak our truth, we're talking about being able to connect intuitively, and we're talking about living a highly spiritual experience, right? And so, like I was saying, and the actual force is the Kundalini. The Kundalini is the force that rises up to get from the really carnal area of existence to a really spiritual area of existence, and that's sexual energy, right? So sexual energy has a journey just like we have a journey. Sexual energy has a journey, has a destiny just like we have a destiny, right? So we're all here to fulfill our purposes, to live our destiny, and once those destinies are complete, we are able to transcend. So same thing goes with sexual energy. So at its root base, peace, Khadijah, at its root base level, that's sexual energy. And as it rises up the chakras, and when it gets to the heart, it transforms into life force energy. Okay? And then as the snake continues its journey up the chakras, and we get to the crown, it now becomes spiritual energy. So that's that's the destiny of sexual energy. Sexual energy wants to be able to transform into life force energy, and then into spiritual energy. And that's one of the things that mostly as a society we're not even aware of. And so that's why I began the conversation with we use sexual energy as recreation, because we don't even realize that sexual energy is actually on a journey, and that's what we're supposed to be striving for, is that transformation from sexual energy to spiritual energy, and in its essence. So I wanted to make sure I said that. And so when we're talking about Tantra, when we're talking about sacred sexuality, and things of that nature, we're talking about the transformation of those energies. So in actuality, as women, we want to, as people, we want to experience a spiritual orgasm or spiritual ecstasy versus a carnal ecstasy, if that makes sense, or a carnal orgasm. Now, if we don't even if we can't experience a carnal orgasm, then I know that you're not really ready to really explore spiritual ecstasy or spiritual orgasms. So let me say this. All women, so in its baseline, right? So women, and I say pussy a lot. I don't try to make it pretty or nothing. I actually like saying it because it encompasses the whole reproductive area. We're not talking about just one. When we say vagina, we're talking about the canal or the opening. When we say clitoris, we're talking about that specific part. When we're talking about womb space, we're saying that part. And usually yoni is in the realm of the vaginal canal as well. Sometimes people incorporate it with the womb, but the pussy, that's the whole entire reproductive system. So, the pussy actually has 8,000 nerve endings in it, whereas a dick only has 4,000. So in actuality, your pussy's a lot more sensitive than a dick is, if you can imagine. I know, like, they'd be like, "Oh, my balls," they have really no clue. So that's the first thing, and so that means that the potential for each and every woman to orgasm is there, but you have to be able to connect with your pussy. It's just true indeed. And I can definitely. I actually have a pussy course that I teach that helps you to get more in alignment with her. Also, it gives you a description of according to what your pussy looks like, what kind of lover you like, or loving that you like. In addition to that, I also have a reading or a pussy spread that I do to get you more in alignment to what she's asking for. So anyway, so there's 8,000 nerve endings, right, in the pussy, and so many times the reason that we cannot orgasm has nothing to do with her. The reason that we can't orgasm is because of our brain, and that's really interesting, right? Because sex starts and ends in the brain. So, a lot of times you be like, "Oh, I'm just horny." Okay, yeah, you're horny. But if you could first of all, when it comes to orgasming, one of the most important things is not to try. It's not to try. It's actually to show up and just enjoy the experience of being touched, of being teased, of the sensations that are being given. That's really the actual point. Once you get out of your mind about trying to orgasm, then orgasm is actually easier to achieve. I'm just trying to think of some of the things that are generally asked of me in these arenas. So yes, every woman can orgasm. Matter of fact, women are literally orgasm machines, which means that we do not deplete ourselves from orgasm, unlike men. Every time a woman orgasms, she's actually regenerating herself. So we can orgasm as much as we want and go about life. The thing with our orgasms, though, the mistakes that we make with our orgasms in recreational sex is that we're not aware of the manifesting powers of them. And so in actuality, we're taking the most powerful force and pretty much like tossing it in the trash. You know what I'm saying? So like, if you can imagine your orgasm being this big fucking golden ball of energy, right? And you orgasm like, "Oh God, yes, it was just so great. I feel so much better." And then I'm gonna take this ball of energy and just, I don't need that shit. And that's really the issue. Or because you're completely unaware of it, you're not aware of what is being downloaded into your subconscious. You're not aware of what is being downloaded into your subconscious at orgasm. So a lot of times when you hear people be like, "Fuck me," or "blow my fucking back out," or "I fucked the shit out that bitch," you know what I'm saying? Well, then later on, when we are going through your phone, when we are, nagging you, when where you at, what you doing, why you talking, da 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 da, it's because you'd already implanted that in us when we were fucking. And I was orgasming. That's what you implanted in me. So this is what I produce for you. Because understand that black women are the most powerful entity on this planet. You are God, literally. Black women are God. So. And in actuality, the reason why black women are so oppressed in our society today is because of the recognition of who you truly are. We were the first being on the planet that has been proven scientifically. We're the only being on the planet that carries mitochondrial DNA that has been proven scientifically. Our connection to the universe is immense. So we have to be very careful about our thoughts, what we do, how we manifest, all those things. A lot of things in society, to me, my philosophy is that a lot of things in society could be ratified if all black women were aware of the power they truly hold. We could eliminate patriarchy, we could eliminate domestic violence, misogyny, sexism, all of that could be thrown out, racism could be thrown out the door if all black women understood their power. But we're getting back to that. We're definitely coming back into that time period. This is probably why you're even in the Yoniverse to begin with, is because you're coming back into your power and you're starting to learn different things about yourself. Okay, so back to sex, right? So now, at the point of orgasm. So once you get to the point of orgasm, it's important to hold your intention in that space. If you can orgasm, then it's important to hold your intention in that space for manifesting powers. Just like I said, in the opposite way, when he's like, I fucked the shit out you, off blowing your motherfucking back out or whatever, he's actually implanting in you to fucking drive him up the wall. He's asking for it. I don't have no kind of feelings involved in that. Like, you asked for it, so this is what you get. But if that's something that seems to be too hard to hold your intentions during that moment, because it is something that has to be cultivated over time, then my advice would be to put your intentions out there in the beginning of your sexual experiences, so that energy is already flowing as you're going through the act, so that manifestation can already happen. Like, the universe is already aware of what you want to manifest before you even get there. So then when you get there, pow, it's just adding power to it. One of the major questions that I think I remember from the comments that day was about semen retention. So let me talk about that some. Every time a man comes, he dies a small death. Every time a man comes, he dies a small death. This is one of the reasons why you see men especially black men, being diagnosed with prostate cancer so much, or having prostate issues so much. It's because every time they come, they die a little death. Really, in actuality, is, again, going back to the original comment that I made at the beginning of the live, men are not aware of the fact that men, just like women, I should say, we are not aware that sexual energy is, again, on a spiritual, is on a journey, is on a is trying to fulfill a destiny. Many times when men have sex, when women have sex, when men have sex, they're just having sex, 5 minutes later. Not generally for black men, but men in totality, the whole lot of them come within 5 minutes. That's a general consensus, is about 5 minutes for men. So that within that 5 minutes, they deplete some of their life force. Every time, sperm is actually life force, because, again, sexual energy, right? This is the way they generate their sexual energy, where ours is more internal. So that's why we can continuously come, and it's just rejuvenating us over and over and over again. So then they come. Right? Men come and they splat all their life force energy, let's say on the ground, on your body, wherever they splat, in their hands, whatever. And so each time they do that, they die a little bit. This is also one of the reasons that they die before us. So, but sexual energy, again, is on a journey from sexual energy to life force energy to spiritual energy. So semen retention, the actual practice of semen retention, means that he is aware that he does not have to come each and every time that he is engaging in sex. And so when he is at the point of coming, is actually a technique that they can practice that helps them to hold back that initial nut. And then because of Enchantress, what ends up happening is that from them holding back, they are able to take that sensation of needing to nut and circulate it back within. So now they're having more of an internal orgasm, because that sexual energy is now on that journey, remember, back to the life force energy and then into spiritual energy. And this is where that spiritual ecstasy, that spiritual orgasm comes from men. It's from semen retention. Now, a lot of times men feel like they can't do that. They feel like they're going to have blue balls and all these other things. Well, yeah, that is true if they don't understand the technique of it. They have to understand there is a technique of it that has to be done in order to be able to practice this. And that is not that they can't come again ever, but that they're not supposed to be coming each and every single time they have sex. So there's a formula to it. And it tells you the amount of days that you can wait before you can come again. So that part. So now the beautiful part about that aspect of things is that because the man does not come, see, what happens is that after the man comes, the attraction that he had from you. Just think about it. When a man is horny, he's after you. Like, oh, you so gorgeous, you so pretty. What can I do to get it? What do I need to do? I just want to touch you. I just want to be up in you. I just want to be in your essence. Da, 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 da. And then he come in and he's like, oh, all right, I'm out. You know, you don't have nothing. It's like all the attraction was drained away. Well, in actuality, it was drained away through the ejaculation process. And so if he holds that ejaculation in, then the attraction to you and things of that nature is held within himself. And so he's always now trying to come at you, get at you, want you, feel you, all those things, because he has not lost that energy. I hope that makes sense. Then the question was, well, how do I satisfy my man if he's not coming? See, that's a misconception. Men don't have to come to be satisfied. They think they have to come to be satisfied because that's what they're used to. That's what the training has been. But in actuality, the satisfaction is a very short-lived satisfaction from nutting from them, and it takes way too long for them to be able to regenerate, whereas women can come over and over and over again. We're multi-orgasmic. So I think this is also a reason why what we're seeing in our society is a lot less women having orgasms, while men are having too many goddamn orgasms, if that makes sense to you. Because if you were able to hold that comeback instead of only being able to fuck for 5 minutes, then, you know, I could get me a couple times before you even are ready to do you. You know what I'm saying? Semen retention also helps with endurance. It also helps with stamina. So in actuality, you are the one that is supposed to be most, you are the one that's supposed to be attended to the most in sexual relations, not them. It's too easy to get them to come. It's just too fucking easy. You know what I'm saying? And again, they lose all attraction once that has happened. It takes a while for it to build up. So instead of them, let's say you have sex every day of the week. Let's say you have sex 2, 3, 4 times a day, multiple times a week. But the guy is 40. That's my age, 40. So, well, I'm not 40 yet, I'm 38, but you know what I'm saying. So, you know, he's coming every day, multiple times a day. And at the age of 40, now he's depleted. He looks older. You know what I'm saying? Now, you know, black don't really crack, but still at the same time, he could be a lot more youthful if he had not have come so often. And so, if he took that energy that he feels and put it on you and placed it on you, then how many orgasms could you really have? I saw something a few days ago where it was saying how women, there are more and more people transitioning to lesbianism. I don't really feel that I think it's both. So there's some people that are born this way, and then there's other people that are intrigued by it, and then there's other people that are just sick and damn tired of men. And then so more and more women are going to lesbianism because lesbians understand the female body and can bring women to orgasm, whereas men are not even interested in trying, and that's because they're so concerned with their own nuts. I think we need to get the focus off of them and bring the focus back onto us. And so, yeah, so that's semen retention. So, yeah, it has nothing to do with, you can still give him mind-blowing head. You can still give him, you know, that good, juicy, you know what I'm saying? All of that. But the whole purpose is that he does not come. But that has to be something that he himself wants to participate in. That's not something that you can force on him, because if he's not ready for that alignment, if he's not ready to come into this which is called sacred, like the sacred jade dragon teachings, then this is not for him. This is not something that you can force upon him. It will do even more damage if you try it. But it is something that can be cultivated. And a lot of times, the misconception with us as women is that we feel like, peace, Tony, we feel like that if we don't get them to orgasm, that we have failed. And that is not the case. It's more of a failure that he doesn't get you to orgasm. Multiple orgasms. Peace. What else? So yeah, that was semen retention. I'm just trying to think of what other things got hits on the comments that night, so I can just go a little bit more in depth with them. Squirting. Okay, so every woman can also squirt. Every woman can squirt. A lot of times women do not squirt because they feel like it's pee. I feel like it's urine, but in actuality, it actually comes from a completely different place in the pussy. So the clitoris is the urethra is where pee actually urine comes from. The gland that's associated with squirting is called the Skene gland. That's spelled Skene glands, and it's a completely separate. And it comes out of a completely separate area of the body, which I believe is called the periurethra. But squirting. So if you have gotten to the point of feeling like you have to, so this is the thing, we all are grown, right? You know when you have to pee, right? So for me, what I tell my students, my clients, is that if you feel like you have to, the best thing to do is to go to the bathroom prior to sex. So go urinate prior to sex, and then when you're in the moment and that feeling, that sensation comes, it's only because the skin gland actually expands. It actually fills with blood, like blood circulates to the skin gland, and then it enlarges itself and it presses up against the urethra or the bladder, and so that's why you feel like you have to pee. But it's but if you just allow yourself to let go and not hold that back, then you will squirt. And the actual excretion that comes from squirting is called soma amarita. Also the gush. Sorry, wrong. The soma is the squirting. The amarita is the gush. And that's from the vaginal canal. In ancient times, both of these things was considered the Holy Grail. Men would consume it for the reasons of immortality, as well as women using sperm would also drink sperm for reasons of immortality. They would also use it as facial, so they put it on their skin in order to stay more youthful longer. And also too, to let you know that there's your mouth holds reflexology points in it, so you can actually stimulate different parts of the body just by sucking them off, or him eating you out. Those things, you can actually stimulate other parts of the body that way. Your mouth has reflexology points. Your pussy has reflexology points. The penis has reflexology points. Just trying to think. So yeah, you can definitely squirt. The biggest misconception about squirting is that women stay in their own mind thinking that they're going to urinate on themselves, when in actuality it's not urine at all. Okay, I really can't think of anything else that was talked about on that particular post, but I am definitely open to questions, any questions or comments that you may have. I can build on whatever. I just don't have anything else on the top of my head that I wanted to explain from the comments from that night. So let me know. Let me know. If you want to hit me up on the side to ask me any particular questions, again, I am Osuntola. 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 The Enchantress on Facebook, the Enchantress Tales on Instagram. You can hit me up individually if you like. I do offer sex and intimacy coaching, sensuality coaching, as well as part of my business, so I can definitely help in those areas. I do free consultations, and then I charge $50 a session for our sessions together, depending on where you are and what your goals are. Yeah, I don't really have too much more than that to offer right now, but we can definitely get into some other things as time progresses. So if there's no questions, I know there's only like 2 people in the group right now, but I'm sure people will come back on when they get the opportunity. It is the holiday weekend, so if there's no questions, then I'm going to go ahead and log off. Khadijah, are you good? Tony, you good? Let me know. I'm going to wait a few minutes. This, I know the live takes a minute for things to come through sometimes. So. Any questions? Anything you would like me to build on more? No? Alright, y'all. Well, I did want to come over here and just give you guys some general information about sex and sexuality. Again, my name is Osuntola. of The Enchanted Life. You can reach me at www.enchantedlife.com. I also have a Facebook page as The Enchanted Life. I'm always willing to build and chat. So until the next time. Oh, Christina, while I was just finishing, do you have anything that you would like me to talk about before I log off? I was literally just getting ready to push the finish button when I saw you jump on. So let me know if there's any questions that you have or anything you want me to build on before I log off, because I hate that you just came and I was like, okay, that's it. Was I early? I might have been early. I started at 7. I thought I said 7 on the flyer, but it could have been 7:30. I'm not really sure. But let me know if you have any questions or anything you want me to add, if there's anything you would like me to answer. And if not, then you can just go back and see the recording. I did it as a live. And again, you are more than welcome to hit me up individually or in this group. I'm kind of in here kind of frequently, in and out. So I can definitely check back later and hit the comments or whatever. Just giving you a few minutes. Okay. Oh, I had missed it. I was doing some homework, but I'll check it out. All right, no problem. No problem at all. No problem at all. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace, y'all.